The sun rises on a new day and a new political landscape. Tony Abbott is riding high on a sudden wave of public approval. As long as he stays standing, it seems there's only one thing that can stop him going all the way to the lodge. Well, it seems to me the only person who could blow it is you.
I've often said to my party room that the thing that stands between ourselves and victory is us, because that's invariably the way.
Do you surprise yourself?
I think all of us often wake up every morning and think, wow, what's going to happen today?
Until now, Tony Abbott has never cared about being popular. Australians, especially women, haven't cared for his blokey image as a man's man who spends time with his mates. So how do you feel when he's called a sexist, a misogynist and a downright nasty person to women?
Look, it really irritates me, and I personally think that, you know, they've done a disservice to women by saying that, because...
Why is that?
Because he's a normal bloke. We're all, I mean, I feel that I have very much the same attitudes as Tony. You know, I've got a wife and a daughter as well. And
so you're sexist and a misogynist as well?
Well, that's right.
I will not be lectured about sexism and misogyny by this man. I will not.
For Tony Abbott and Julia Gillard, this is a political fight to the death. And already it's bitter and it's personal.
I was offended when the Leader of the Opposition stood next to a sign that described me as a man's bitch.
The Prime Minister telling the country that Tony Abbott is a misogynist, a man who hates women.
Now looking at his watch, because apparently a woman's spoken too long, I've had him yell at me to shut up in the past.
I think 2 million people around the world watched that on YouTube. What damage did that do?
In the end, I guess we'll find out on polling day, but it wasn't true and it wasn't fair.
Are you not admitting that you've given your critics some ammunition for these statements?
I've certainly said some things which I wouldn't say now. I've said some things which I believed then, which I don't believe now, because like everyone who's had a long time in public life in particular, I've changed, and I'd like to think that I've grown.
Yeah. The new, enlightened, softer, sensitive Tony Abbott is backed up by an entourage, desperate to convince us he's evolved into a 21st century man.
What has changed him? Life has changed him. Marriage, parenthood, responsibility, you know, being essentially the main breadwinner. All of these things are part of life's journey, Liz. So
Margie Abbott has joined the campaign, tired of accusations that she's been married to a misogynist for 24 years.
And I suppose I wanted to say, look, enough is enough. I'm drawing a line in the sand. This is not the man who I've been married to for nearly 25 years. So I just wanted to right some wrongs.
Before entering politics, Tony Abbott trained to be a priest. So, not surprisingly, on controversial moral issues, his views have traditionally been in line with the views of the Catholic Church.
Every abortion is a tragedy, and up to 100,000 abortions a year is this generation's legacy of unutterable shame.
I think it's because you've been so outspoken in some of the sensitive areas that makes women distrust whether or not you will invoke your own religious beliefs when it comes to policy making. Can you guarantee us that that won't happen?
Well, yes, I can, Liz. Faith is important to me. It's important to millions of Australians. It helps to shape who I am. It helps to shape my values, but it must never dictate my politics. Judge me by what the considered view today is, not by throwaway lines and offhand comments 35 years ago.
Well, how offhand was your line about abortion when you said it was the easy way out?
Liz, I don't want to minimise from time to time the errors that I've made,
Was that an error?
Well, I didn't express it as well as I could have or should have, and I absolutely accept that for any woman facing an unexpected pregnancy, the choices are tough.
No, that's right. Well, I always think more mustard is better than less mustard.
The fact is, Tony Abbott has been surrounded by women all his life, with 3 sisters and 3 daughters.
Job well done, Dad.
Thank you, Bridget.
Now, one of those women has presented another challenge to the traditional view of Tony Abbott. His sister, Christine Forster, has declared she's a lesbian.
When I told him about the situation that I was in, he said to me, look, Chris, you know, I know that life does throw up some difficult and sometimes terrible situations for people, but, you know, I know that you're just going to be doing the best you can to deal with that.
Come as a bit of a shock when someone who's close to you, who you've always thought of in a particular light, tells you that they're now to be seen in a different light. But nevertheless, I think I was probably reasonably unfazed by it.
Oh, completely unfazed. Completely. And I was not surprised by that.
No.
And I imagine, Chris, you wouldn't have been.
Not at all.
Christine is Tony's youngest sister. 4 years ago, she walked away from her 19-year marriage to live with the woman she'd fallen in love with, Virginia Edwards.
Virginia, because I imagine maybe what you heard about Tony Abbott was what a lot of people think they know about Tony Abbott.
Yes, possibly. I hadn't met him on a personal level, so I only had what was socially perceived of him, and I was encouraged by the fact that he, from day one, has, as have the girls, been fantastic in regard to where Christine and I have been on this journey. That was traumatic is a word that understates it, I think.
Slightly.
It was a family secret that Tony Abbott was keeping when he made this comment to me 3 years ago, outraging the gay community.
Homosexuality. How do you feel about that?
Oh, I probably feel a bit threatened.
Not asking if it's a personal choice of yours.
As so many people do, but
I saw it on telly, you know, the night that it was broadcast, and in the first instance, Liz, I was surprised. You know, I was kind of taken aback because it doesn't really reflect what I know of my brother. I was a little disappointed, I'll be honest.
You said to me during that interview that you
famous interview.
You were a bit threatened. She said she was disappointed. You said that.
Sure, and look, when I reviewed the thing, I was a bit disappointed as well. What flashed through my mind as you were questioning me was what was going on in my own family at the time, Liz. Now, I couldn't talk about that then because it was deeply personal and deeply private, but certainly they were very tough times for our family, hence my comment, because the cohesion of our family was threatened at that time. But I'm pleased to say that we're all in a better space now than we were then.
In this better space, Christine and Virginia can finally be open about their relationship. They could march in this year's Mardi Gras parade without fear of Christine being outed as an Abbott.
It's certainly, you see all sorts of things at Mardi Gras. It's fantastic fun, and it is just about everybody coming, the community coming together and celebrating who they are.
The first Mardi Gras 35 years ago was actually a protest for gay rights. Rights that, as a student politician at Sydney University, Tony Abbott actively opposed. He was known at the time for his strong anti-gay views, particularly about lesbians.
You must be aware of some of those things that he's said and even published.
Well, look, you know, I'm not aware of him ever saying anything that was anti-gay.
Well, I think he described lesbians as grim-faced, overall-clad, hardened, strident, often lustfully embracing counterfeit love.
Yeah. Well, yes, that was colourful language from a student politician who had a point to make, I guess. I don't...
What would his point be?
Look, my response to that is it's a reflection on the times. on the nature and the environment of student politics at the times. It's not a reflection on my brother as a person.
But how can it not be, really?
Well, you know, it was, as I say, it was heated student politics.
I only push you on it because people who know those years and people who know him now would say that he's either changed or reinvented himself.
Oh, look, we all change, don't we? I mean, I'm not the same person. I'm a classic example of that. I'm not the same person at the age of 48 that I was when I was 19. And so, yeah, look, it would be fair to say that he's changed.
I don't have all the views now that I had 35 years ago.
Do you remember the moment that you decided gay people were okay?
Well, probably when I started to get to know them, I guess.
Tony accepts your relationship, it's fair enough to say, with Virginia.
Yeah, of course. He accepts it the same way as he accepts my other sister's relationship with her husband.
But yet he doesn't accept the notion of marriage.
Oh, no, well, you know, he defines marriage as it is defined under the Act, you know, the Marriage Act. My view is it is discriminatory not to offer marriage to same-sex couples under the terms of the Act. You know.
So therefore, isn't your brother discriminating against you?
Well, my brother's the head of a political party that's come to a decision about this as a matter of public policy.
But these are his personal views too.
Well, he believes that marriage is between a man and a woman.
I know that you're in a bad position here. You've got to support your brother.
I'm not trying to defend him on this because, you know, his opinion is his opinion. As everybody knows, I disagree with it.
Your sister does say it's discriminatory.
Look, we've had quite a few discussions about this, obviously, and I'm pleased to say that they've been good-humoured and respectful. She vigorously disagrees with me, and she hopes that at some future point in time, the coalition party room might take a different position.
Well, I'm a better golfer. No,
no, you're not.
There's no doubt Tony Abbott has changed and has had to change to become prime ministerial material.
We don't want any more dynasties.
And he admits some of those changes have been purely cosmetic.
And have you had a wrinkle in your hair?
No. Also no.
Okay, well,
I think he's combing it. I think what he is doing is he's combing it, and I think that's the difference.
What is a
I've got
little
to be honest and say,
the only difference is that I am putting a little bit of product, dare I say it, in the hair.
Oh, you Metro Man. He's a Tony Metro Man.
I tell you, what
Did you know that, girls?
Yeah.
And Dad's product in his hair.
Oh, he's even starting to use facial moisturiser too.
Too much of man.
This is a 6-month battle for Australian hearts and minds, and Team Abbott is well into campaign mode. The new Tony Abbott, enlightened metrosexual, will have to convince many Australians his transformation is genuine.
For you to win this election, do you agree that you have to have the trust of the people?
Yes, I do, and that's what I'm working every day to bring about.
Yet, John Hewson and Malcolm Fraser have both said that you will say whatever it takes to get power. From your own side.
Well, I respectfully disagree with any statements to that effect.
You've admitted to being loose with the truth on occasions.
Look, all of us say things in the heat of debate and argument, which on reflection could have been better said.
From the time he was a child, Tony Abbott has talked of becoming Prime Minister. Still, you get the feeling that even he can't believe how close he is to fulfilling his dream.
Your mum said that she thought you would end up either the Pope or the Prime Minister. Both jobs are up for grabs.
Well, that was Mum just being over the top again, I'm afraid.
If it continues as it is, you should be the next Prime Minister. Is that not fair enough?
Well, I'm going to leave those judgments to you, Liz.
Why can't we say this?
Because I don't want to jinx myself by getting too cocky too soon. This is the supreme challenge of my life, and I am so conscious of the responsibilities that I carry, and I'm so determined not to let down the millions of Australians who would like to see a change of government.
Hello, I'm Liz Hayes. Thanks for watching. To keep up with the latest from 60 Minutes Australia, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You can also download the 9 Now app for full episodes and other exclusive 60 Minutes content.